Censoring the facts turns our children into idiots. They claim it's for our safety. I'll tell you what it really is. Removing information that empowers all the citizens. The truth doesn't damage points of view that are legitimate. They're trying to change amen to amen. And
hello, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today? I hope you had a good weekend. So I'm doing this video. You know, not everyone can be an OD, an original Dion, right? Watch the show from the beginning, and there are a lot of you that are just joining the party, my show now. So I thought I would take some time and tell you guys, I guess, you know, who I am, where I come from, and I'll also address there's some crazy things going on out there, posts about me and whatnot. I'll get to those, don't worry. But mainly, I just wanted to talk to you and tell you who I am, where I come from, and why you should vote for me. So we're gonna dive into this. I'm gonna tell you kind of what I'm about. More so than just your typical election, you know, posts that go out there and talk about I'm going to vote for this and I'm going to do that. Really, like, who is Dion? So I'm just going to dive in here. So I come from a single parent household. My mom was a single parent. My dad was kind of in and out, both in and out of prison and in and out of my life. But you know what? I had a really great family. My mom's sister was phenomenal. My grandparents were really good. So it's not a pity party or anything. It's just the reality. My mom struggled with substance abuse her whole life. It's not my story to tell, but she came from a horrific childhood where a lot of really bad things happened to her and to the people around her. So that's interesting. I just saw that. When I go to switch to something, it like flips. Interesting. But anyway, so I ended up on my own at 16 years old. Now, I'm sure you guys have known 16. You were 16-year-olds. You were 16 once. Maybe you have kids that are 16. Imagine your 16-year-old out there in the world by themselves, and I'm sure you would agree that they would not make the best decisions, and I did not. So 16 years old, had my own apartment, working 2 jobs actually for a little bit, and then ended up moving down south. I got arrested at 19. So why did I do stuff that got me arrested? Well, I had no role model, and I had way too much freedom. I was broke, hungry, no money. One of these days I'll give, you know, the full story of my early years, but it's not really important. I had a job. I lost the job because I couldn't get to work because my car broke down and da. But the short version is no money. I was hungry. It was a very, very stupid thing that I did. And it's not like I was some mastermind criminal. It was criminal damage to coin-operated vending machines. I was with a guy who sprayed salt water in the dollar bill slot of a Coke machine, and now they fixed them. So let me be clear: this does not work. Do not go out there and try to make this happen. And obviously, it's against the law anyway. But it doesn't work anymore. But back in the early 90s, if you sprayed salt water in the dollar bill slot of a Coke machine, it would give you all the Cokes and change, right? Hit the change return, it would dump it out. You hit the Coke button. Any button you hit, it would give it to you. So I got arrested. That in and of itself is a long story. But more importantly, why I got arrested, had the court proceedings and all of that. Why did I end up going to jail for it? Not prison, jail. I went to jail for 6 months. Why? Because I was too poor to pay the fine and restitution. They actually were going to make it all go away. All I had to do was pay the damage. It came up to like $2,500 or so back in the early 90s, you know, as a 19-year-old with no job. It was too hard for me to come up with that amount of money. But I actually learned a lot, or a heck of a lot, about myself and about my life goals and where I wanted to move forward. It taught me that I wanted more out of life, right? I didn't want to follow in the footsteps of my father. I didn't want to go from court case to court case and jail to jail. I wanted to be a contributing member of society. I hated how I felt being locked up. I hated the fact that I felt like I had failed my friends and family. I felt like I wasn't accomplishing anything. So I set my mind to it. I got out. I got working. I got married. I became a dad to two amazing daughters. Eventually, I became a truck driver. I became a truck driver because I love driving. I always have. I actually ended up becoming a trainer for one of the #1 companies in the United States. I had 100% on time rate, no at-fault accidents. I focused my life and I did more with it. So after time, I ended up working at Indiana State Prison as a correctional officer. I've talked about that before. I met my wonderful wife, Liz. We raised our boys, one of which at least one has special needs. And I'm going to cover this a little more later, but I'm going to tell you, we really need an advocate for special needs individuals in Indy. So that's kind of where it's at. I'm gonna say a couple more things though about that, and that is about my childhood. There are some horrific instances in my childhood, some really bad things that happened to me. Those things don't define me. I could trade stories with anybody about growing up with an addict as a parent and the things that happened and, having your things sold and stuff like that. But the important thing is that doesn't define me. I escaped the cycle. I became a contributing member of society. And more importantly, I learned from the mistakes that I made in order to move forward in life, in order to become a better person. At least I believe. There are many stories that maybe I'll tell one day, but most of the things that happened, I believe, aren't really mine to tell. A lot of it involved my mom and her, her struggles growing up. So it wasn't an easy life. It was a tough life. My mom loved me very much. I want to make that perfectly clear. She did whatever she could. But here we are, right? And I have grown and learned from those experiences. But there have been some posts, some rumors floating around. I don't know if you guys maybe watched this episode or not, but I talked about this poll that was going around. And this poll is basically asking people if their vote for me would change if they knew I went to prison. Now, let me clarify. I never went to prison except as a correctional officer. And to put it out there, you cannot serve as a correctional officer if you have been to prison. I had a misdemeanor charge. And I learned from it, and I became a correctional officer. So obviously, it wasn't that bad, was it? But let's talk about some of the rumors that are going around about me. They say I'm transphobic. Okay, so I want to be perfectly clear on this because it is a very current issue, for lack of a better term. Athletes and transgender and all that stuff. I want to be very clear. I have some close family members that are in the trans community, in the LGBTQ community, and I love them very much. I may not agree with them, but that doesn't change how I feel. It doesn't change the fact that I'm not going to do anything, either personal life or legislatively, that would harm them. It's funny because and I'm not going to say who they are. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to out them. That's their story to tell. It's their choice. I actually have had friends in the community before that were outed, and it didn't it didn't go well for them. It's a bad experience, and it's not up to me to tell you, who they are or what their identities are or any of that. So I do believe, however, that athletically, we are looking at a biological difference between men and women, boys and girls. And so we need to make sure that those differences don't give someone an unfair advantage, especially when we're talking sports. A lot of times you have people that rely on scholarships to go to college, to improve their lives, to get further. And who are we, whether legislative or schools and sports, to change the rules, to make it to where transgender athletes have an unfair advantage biologically? And that's just a reality. It's basic science. Follow the science, right? Trust the science. And that is a case where I do believe we need to trust the science, because there's definitely science there. So look, another thing that is being put out there is that they say I hate public schools and teachers, right? That is categorically false. I love school choice. I want the money to follow the kids for educational freedom. One thing that really bothers me is across the country, both in blue and red areas, administrations get whopping amounts of money while teachers make very little and paras even less. So let's clarify here. There are some teachers that are bad, but not all, not even the majority. I personally had some fantastic teachers growing up. If anybody in the Michigan City School District remembers Mrs. Shover, she was incredible, absolutely incredible. She really reignited in me a passion for reading, and I always will think of her when I think of formative teachers. They come in both ends of the spectrum. In order to have super fantastic teachers, there have to be bad ones to offset them. And there was an episode that I did where Donovan went to summer school, and he came home and he told me about his day, and it was like, whoa. Now they claim I was lying when I said what happened. We have all had that one teacher. That one teacher, I'm sure you can remember a teacher that you really enjoyed and really helped you to achieve what you could. There's the other side of that too. I'm sure you can remember a teacher that's like, oh my goodness, I hated going to that class. The teacher that was just horrible for no reason whatsoever, or for whatever reason they decided, whether they singled you out or were just being mean to everyone. Now, I want you to think about how many other teachers you had that didn't leave that negative impression, right? Overwhelming majority of teachers are good. However, bad ones exist. It actually took like 11 years in the LaPorte County schools, LaPorte, Michigan City, before he came across that one. And he came home, he told me, and I want to clarify, it's not like he just made that up. The teacher admitted it. When the teacher called me that day, because Donovan came home, and it was a big thing. I did a video on it, but the short version is this teacher basically told the students that white people are racist, and okay, fine. Donovan texted me and was like, hey, I'm not comfortable in this class. Can I come home? So we brought him home, and we talked to the administrator to let them know why Donovan wouldn't be returning to summer school. And the administrator was like, okay, no problem. Well, the teacher actually called me directly and wanted to argue about the things that Donovan said. And I said, okay, that's fine. And let me be clear. At no point have I ever said this teacher's name, nor do I plan to, because it doesn't matter. This was something that happened with my child. I wanted to make people aware of the circumstances and that it's happening here in Indiana as well. So the teacher calls me and we have a discussion about the things that were said and how my my son is incorrect that this didn't happen. I said, okay, well, that's fine. We'll just put my son on the phone. He's right in the next room. Let's get. Oh, no, that's not necessary. Yeah, that's what I thought. Ultimately, of course, nothing got resolved. I don't know why the teacher called me directly, unless it was to see if maybe they could convince me that my child was a liar. I don't know, but it happened. The teacher admitted that these words, yes, they were said. At the end of the day, they were also it wasn't a positive message. Let's just suffice it to say that. They're like, I didn't intend for it to come out that way. I'm like, well, I would recommend that you review the statements that you're going to make and think about how they, can be perceived. They also said that I was lying, that Donovan wasn't allowed to share information with me. I actually shared the form on my show where it says none of this stuff should be shared at home. That all of this is basically needs to be kept to yourself and should not be shared. So let's be very clear. I try very, very hard to make sure that I only give you accurate information. And my son coming to me and telling me something that happened, especially once I verified it with the teacher, it's not inaccurate. They also they put out some quotes as mine. I was actually reading a Twitter thread or an article or something, and they credited me as the author of this. What's the term these days? Misinformation, disinformation, outright lying? You decide. Look, I'm running for this office because we need a representative that will be there for all of us. Back in, I don't remember the exact month, but maybe Liz, my wife, can help me. There were some major changes to BDDS and waiver, also known as BEADS. The waiver is where those who have developmental disabilities or physical disabilities and they need help, it's where they get the assistance, right? So there were these huge changes to the industry. Maybe you know someone who was affected by that, but it ended up affecting a huge number of people. Where was the incumbent? What did they do? They weren't even aware of it, as far as I know, until I was actually going to give them the win. I contacted the representative's assistant and told them what was going on, gave them all the pertinent information. Like I said, I was going to give them the win. Let's fix this. Let's make it happen. And they did nothing, as far as I know. They may have written a letter, maybe. For those who aren't familiar, the waiver is controlled by FSSA, food stamps, right? The budget, and it is controlled on the state level. We need an advocate for those with special needs. Thankfully, we have Senator Mike Bohacek. He does an incredible job in that regard. But we need someone in the House, right? Preferably someone from our area. We need some people that are willing to fight, that are willing to get in there and say what's happening, right? So, other state reps and state senators were fighting for us. The incumbent was not. So there are a lot of things that need to be fixed, a lot of things that we need to get down to the bottom of, one of which is special needs, but there's also economic development. There's laws that I believe need to be updated. There are laws that need to be fixed, and nothing's happening. The incumbent has used the excuse more than once that they are in the super minority, so they can't get anything done. I'm just going to say this. Then why are you there? We need someone who is willing to work with both parties. We need someone who is able to get things done, who is able to get some of these state dollars up here, some of these investments up here. New Carlisle's getting a battery plant, right? Why not Michigan City? New Carlisle doesn't even have enough people to staff this place. So guess who's going to be working there? Michigan City residents. So why is this place not in Michigan City? We have public transportation. We have a number of things here. Fantastic location. Chesterton, same thing. We've got wonderful locations that are just not getting the love that they should. Now, I have my ideas as to why that's the way that it is, but ultimately, what we really desperately need is a representative that is available, because I've heard many, many people complain that they do not feel heard by the incumbent. They have called, they have written, and they never receive a response. So we need someone that's available. We need someone that is willing and able to answer messages. We need someone who is transparent, who tells you what's going on, who lets you know, hey, this bill's on my desk. What do you guys think? And here's why I'm going to vote the way that I am, because it's not a direct democracy. Let's be very clear. There will probably be instances. My foot's caught on my wire. There will probably be instances where I vote for what I believe is the best thing for the district. It may not go along with the popular vote. Why? Because we're not a standard democracy. You don't go and vote directly for the law that you want or don't want. We elect people who we believe most align with our interests, and we have them do it for us. It's, a representational republic. Why does that matter? Because direct democracy has failed time and time again. Once people figure out that you can vote for benefits for yourself or vote to give yourself money, the whole thing breaks down. I got to drink plenty of Gatorade. We had a little bout of flu here in the house, so I got to make sure I get the proper liquid rather than just pop or something. That's who I am. I'm gonna tell you a little bit more. So I'm just gonna say it. I've worked in a variety of fields, especially in my late teens to early 20s, but before I became a truck driver, because once I became a truck driver, that was my career. That's what I was going to do. I've worked on oil rigs. I've worked cleaning up oil spills. I was a manager at Domino's. I've done a whole bunch of things. And one of the things that I've realized about this area in so doing, there's not much as far as quality careers here. You've got the steel mill, you've got the prison. Who are your other main employers around here? Like, really, who can you go to and know that you're going to have a quality career for the rest of your life? When's the last time one opened? I speak from experience when I say that the pickings are slim around here. That's one of the reasons why I became a truck driver and then ended up working in Indiana State Prison, because those are what's here. Those are what's available. We are losing people on a regular basis who either complete, whether it's college or technical training, and say, it's a good area, but I can make way more money. I can do better if I move to location X or location B or whatever. We're losing people left and right every year. Now it's not a huge number, but anytime you have negative population growth, it's bad. And I'm not saying any one person or party is responsible for this. I'm just saying that we desperately need people who are invested in the future of this area. I don't know about you, but when my kids get done with high school and then go to their trade school, I want them to stay by me. I don't want them to have to move. Like, I want them to have the option, right? If they want to move cross country, fine. I'll be sad, but I understand. If that's their only choice in order to have a good career, right? We don't want that. As a parent, I want my children close to me. I want to be able to say, I want to go while they're at work and hide all their silverware and get their towels wet and throw them on the floor and do the things that they did at my house while they lived here. We're gonna take a minute and look at the okay. So Sean Fagan for prosecutor. What if you're homeschooled and your teacher hates you? Then I think you maybe need to reevaluate your schooling choices. Yeah. So Mrs. Schinnel, she I don't know if she still is, but she was the principal of Lincoln Elementary School, and my son attended there, and she was incredible. She understood that he had special needs, that he had a different way of learning and a different way of processing things. Mrs. Schinnel was and is incredible. Let's see here. Mary says, yeah. So the whole thing was just crazy. And again, I wasn't looking to get anyone fired. I wasn't even looking to get anyone in trouble. The whole purpose was so that they understood. The whole purpose of me contacting the administration was so they understood, hey, here's why I'm pulling my son out of summer school. Here's why he won't be coming back. And Sean here is talking about the waiting list for the waiver. I agree. We really need a bigger budget for FSSA in general, but especially the waiver. There are many instances that could be improved. The cap on funding. Let me ask you something. So the home health care industry is just a tiny drop in the bucket of this massive industry, but home health care, right? There is a cap as to what they can charge, right? They can only charge so much to Medicare, Medicaid, stuff like that, right? So because there's this cap, they can only afford to pay their workers so much, right? Would you think people would rather go and take care of people with dementia or other conditions where they might snap and come after you or say some very hurtful things, or make some lattes for $3 to $5 more an hour than you would make taking care of people? It's the industry is very behind on that, and that's why we need people. So here, let me throw a little example out for you. So little Johnny needs the waiver. What does that mean? Little Johnny has issues. He has special needs. Either he is autistic or he has he has autism. He has developmental disabilities in some way, shape, or form, right? He needs assistance to get through his day, whether that is full-on physical therapy, whether it is various other services. Maybe someone comes and gives mom a break. These are all things that are covered under the waiver. So little Johnny needs the waiver. They've applied, but it's been 3 years and they're still waiting. The parents contact their state representative, and because that's who handles it, and they say, hey, I'm still on the wait list, I'm trying to get the waiver. Nothing's going on. I think we should have a representative who knows what's going on and doesn't have to go, hold on, let me look into this for you and figure out what you're talking about, and I'll get back with you. This is something that, now I'm no expert. I want to be absolutely clear. I'm just a guy whose wife happens to be very good at what she does, and I've learned so much through her. But at least I know the terms. At least I know what BEADS is. I know what FSSA is, what they do. They're not just food stamps. They handle way more. So that's it. We need someone who not only can be an advocate for that, but also focus on ways to make District 9 better. There are a lot of things that could be improved here. So who else am I? What do I care about? Obviously, I care about the waiver and developmentally disabled, but I also care about your rights. Our rights are under attack like never before. We have constant news stories about various ways they're trying to outlaw this or outlaw that. We have administration that works with social media companies to say what you can and can't say. I I'm a firm believer in your ability to determine the course of your life. I am a firm believer in free speech. I am a firm believer in your right to defend yourself. Not just you, but the big thing with self-defense is it's the great equalizer, and that's why the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution and the Indiana Constitution's right to bear arms is so critical, because physically there's a big difference between that huge criminal and that small petite woman who otherwise wouldn't stand a chance physically, right? When the police, when the police are minutes away, seconds matter. You need to be able to defend yourself. I am wholeheartedly in favor of your ability to defend yourself. That's really what it comes down to. Sure, there's gun culture in the United States, and yeehaw, I love shooting my guns, and that's all well and good. But what it comes down to is your ability to defend yourself against what would otherwise be overwhelming force. That's what I'm about. I'm about equal rights for everyone. I'm about making sure the government is as limited as it can possibly be and still function. So if those things are bad, then I'm not sure what to say. I'm not sure what to say. So I'm going to keep this pretty short. I mean, comparatively. And we've got join us on the 15th. I'm probably going to do another one before then. Join us on the 15th, where we're going to have Manny Maldonado. He's running for state rep for District 10, which is right next door to me, just to the west there. And I think it'd be great if we both get elected. We both go to Indy, and we can really turn this area around. Northwest Indiana has such potential. It can really be a phenomenal place. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it, and look for more. I'll tell you this without saying too much. The left is very, very worried about this election, and they should be. I think they're going to lose big. Now, that means don't sit at home and say, "Oh yeah, we got this." Get out and vote. It's huge, very, 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 very important to get out there and vote and make your voice heard. If these people are not doing, and I mean this for every position on the ballot, judges, prosecutors, city officials, although they're next year, but your county representatives, your commissioners, your county council, if they are not doing what you want them to do, fire them. Elect the other person. If they are doing what you want them to do, vote for them. Keep them in. There are very few politicians that I am going to go in and be like, yep, keep them. Yep, keep them. But they're out there. They are out there. So I think we need an entire ballot full of good quality Americans and Hoosiers that are going to make our place better. Up and down the ballot. Get out there, vote. If you're not registered, hurry up and do so. And because I got to throw it out there. If you want to, I'm door knocking. If you want to come help, send me a message. We're going to get some stuff organized. We're going to have groups. I've already talked to lots of voters, but we're going to keep doing it. If you want to donate to the campaign, go to my website, dionbergeron.com, because unfortunately, campaigns cost money. Signs cost money. Gas costs money. Ads, all these things, because we got to make sure people understand that they have a choice this election. It's not just the same old, same old. It's not two career politicians. It's you have a choice this election. You have the ability to greatly alter the course of this district. And I'm not going to pretend I'm going to get everything done myself, because one person isn't going to go down to Indianapolis and completely shake up the politics tree. But what I will do is I will assure you that I will always be transparent. I will always be here to talk to you, and I will always vote for what's in the best interest of our district. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate your time, like always. God bless you. God bless Indiana. God bless the United States of America.